Caracas, Venezuela, January 3rd, 2026, 2 a.m. You're watching either the liberation of a nation or the most brazen violation of international law in decades. Explosions light up the night sky. Military helicopters roar overhead. Fire erupts at Fuerte Tiuna, Venezuela's largest military complex. Inside a fortified residence, steel doors slam shut. A man races toward his panic room. He doesn't make it. Nicolás Maduro, elected president of Venezuela, dictator by most accounts, drug cartel leader according to Washington, is captured by Delta Force commandos and flown out of his own country. 20 minutes, that's all it took. But was this justice or kidnapping? Liberation or invasion? Right now, as Maduro sits in handcuffs aboard the USS Iwo Jima heading to New York, the world is asking one question. When did America decide it could bomb any country and arrest any leader it doesn't like? This is how America just crossed a line that may never be uncrossed. But it almost didn't happen. 3 times Trump's forces were ready to strike. Christmas Day, delayed because of ISIS operations in Nigeria. New Year's Eve, postponed due to weather. January 2nd, called off because of intelligence gaps. Then finally, January 3rd. The perfect storm. Intelligence pinpointed Maduro's exact location. Delta Force positioned. Weather cleared. Trump gave the green light from Mar-a-Lago. What he didn't tell Congress, what he didn't tell allied nations, what he didn't care about was that attacking a sovereign country and kidnapping its leader violates every principle of international law written since World War II. But when you're convinced you're fighting evil, law becomes optional. Let's go back to where this really started. July 28, 2024, Venezuelan presidential election day. Polling stations across the country. 10 million people vote. Opposition candidate Edmundo Gonzalez wins by 20 percentage points. Exit polls show a landslide. International observers confirm it. Thinks he's untouchable. He's wrong. That same day, Donald Trump becomes president again. During his campaign, Trump made a promise. Clean up Latin America, end the drug trafficking, remove hostile regimes from America's hemisphere. Venezuela is at the top of his list. Not because of oil, though Venezuela has the world's largest proven reserves. Not because of geopolitics, though Maduro is allied with Russia, China, and Iran. Because of drugs, and because Trump believes Maduro emptied Venezuela's prisons and mental institutions into America. The evidence doesn't support this claim, but Trump believes it. And when Trump believes something, he acts. The question legal scholars are asking tonight: when did unproven beliefs become justification for regime change? When did America decide that being wrong about the facts doesn't matter if you're certain about the mission? February 2025. The pressure campaign begins. New sanctions. Increased naval presence in the Caribbean. Trump assembles the largest armada in South American history. The USS Gerald R. Ford Carrier Strike Group. 4 destroyers. Dozens of support vessels. They position themselves in international waters off Venezuela's coast. Watching. Waiting. Maduro calls it an invasion fleet. Trump calls it drug interdiction. Both are right. August 15, 2025. The bounty doubles. From $25 million to $50 million. Trump designates Maduro's government as the Cartel de los Soles, a foreign terrorist organization. The same classification as Al-Qaeda. The same level as ISIS. This isn't just about removing a dictator anymore. This is about destroying what Trump considers a narco state. Maduro responds by mobilizing his military, threatens to sink any American ship that enters Venezuelan waters. It's a bluff. His navy consists of 4 patrol boats and 2 submarines that barely work. September 7th, 2025. The boat strikes begin. U.S. forces start attacking suspected drug vessels in the Caribbean and Pacific. 35 operations. 115 people killed. The official justification is counter-narcotics. The real purpose is psychological warfare. Show Maduro that nowhere in his sphere of influence is safe. Each destroyed boat sends a message. Your protection racket is over. But human rights lawyers ask a different question. How many of those 115 dead were actually traffickers? How many were fishermen in the wrong place? When did America decide that suspected drug runners deserve death without trial? The boats are destroyed in international waters. No arrests, no evidence preserved, no chance to defend themselves. November 21st, 2025. The phone call. Trump calls Maduro directly. The conversation lasts 12 minutes. According to White House officials, Trump repeatedly tells Maduro it would be in his best interest to step down and leave the country. Maduro refuses. The call ends with what officials describe as an ultimatum. Maduro has until January to voluntarily resign. If he doesn't, America will remove him. December 16th, 2025. The blockade begins. Trump orders the U.S. Coast Guard to intercept any oil tanker approaching or leaving Venezuelan waters. 2 tankers are seized, the Skipper and the Centuries. Combined cargo worth $40 million. Trump announces on social media that America will keep the oil because Venezuela stole it from American companies in the 1970s. The legal justification is questionable at best. The precedent is terrifying. If America can seize assets based on nationalizations from 50 years ago, what stops China from seizing American property? What stops Russia from claiming historical grievances justify theft? The message is clear. Your economic lifeline is cut. But the method is piracy dressed up as justice. December 20th, 2025. The first land strike. CIA drones hit a port facility on Venezuela's coast. The target is allegedly used for loading drugs onto ships. But the real purpose is escalation. For the first time since the Cold War, America attacks targets inside a Latin American country without that country's permission, without congressional authorization, without UN approval, without even informing allies. International law experts call it illegal. Constitutional scholars call it impeachable. Trump calls it necessary. The precedent is set. If America can bomb Venezuela for suspected drug activity, what stops any nuclear power from bombing any country for any suspected crime? The world order dies one drone strike at a time. January 1st, 2026. Maduro tries to negotiate. Through back channels, He sends word that he's willing to discuss drug trafficking cooperation and migration issues. Trump's response is immediate. No negotiation, no deals. You had your chance in November, too late. January 2nd, 2026. Final preparations. Delta Force teams position themselves on Navy ships off the Venezuelan coast. Intelligence assets inside Venezuela provide real-time updates on Maduro's location. The plan is simple. Simultaneous strikes on military targets across the country. Capture Maduro alive. Extract him before Venezuelan forces can respond. The window of opportunity is small. Maduro moves between safe houses every night. They have to hit him when they know exactly where he is. January 3rd, 2026, 1:58 a.m. local time. The operation begins. 24 aircraft launch from 3 ships. Targets include Fuerte Tiuna military complex, La Carlota Airport, and a fortified residence in eastern Caracas. The residence is Maduro's location. Intelligence confirms he's inside with his wife and bodyguards. The building is designed to withstand military assault. Steel doors, reinforced walls, a panic room with independent air supply. But there's one weakness. The panic room takes 30 seconds to seal completely. Delta Force has 25 seconds to breach the outer perimeter. 2:12 a.m. Explosions rock Caracas. Surveillance cameras capture helicopters flying at rooftop level through the city. Residents wake to the sound of war. Social media fills with videos of fires burning across the capital. But the main action is happening at the fortified residence. Delta Force rappels onto the roof, breaches the building using explosive charges, neutralizes the security team, finds Maduro racing toward his panic room. He doesn't make it. The steel door is halfway closed when commandos grab him. His wife is captured in another room. 2:23 a.m. Maduro is loaded into a helicopter. 11 minutes from breach to extraction. No American casualties. 2 Venezuelan guards killed. Diaz, aircraft flies to the USS Iwo Jima, waiting in international waters. By the time Venezuelan reinforcements arrive at the residence, Maduro is already gone. The operation is a tactical success. But strategically, what precedent has America just set? If kidnapping foreign leaders is acceptable when you disapprove of their governance, what stops Russia from abducting Ukrainian officials? What stops China from capturing Taiwanese leaders? What stops any powerful nation from deciding that law is optional when dealing with weaker countries? The efficiency of the operation is impressive. The implications are terrifying. 4:27 a.m. Trump announces the operation on social media. The United States of America has successfully carried out a large-scale strike against Venezuela and its leader, President Nicolás Maduro, who has been, along with his wife, captured and flown out of the country. The post goes viral instantly. Within hours, celebrations break out in Venezuelan neighborhoods across America: Miami, Houston, New York. Venezuelans who fled Maduro's regime dance in the streets. But the celebration is premature. Maduro's capture creates a power vacuum. Vice President Delcy Rodriguez disappears, possibly fleeing to Russia. The military fractures. Some units surrender, others prepare to fight. Opposition leader Maria Corina Machado emerges from hiding but can't immediately return to Venezuela. The country stands on the brink of civil war. Right now, Maduro is aboard an American warship heading to New York. Federal prosecutors have unsealed new charges: narco-terrorism, weapons trafficking, conspiracy to import cocaine. If convicted, he faces life in prison. Attorney General Pam Bondi promises he will face the full wrath of American justice on American soil. Right now, Maduro is aboard an American warship heading to New York. Federal prosecutors have unsealed new charges: narco-terrorism, weapons trafficking, conspiracy to import cocaine. If convicted, he faces life in prison. Attorney General Pam Bondi promises he will face the full wrath of American justice on American soil. But whose justice? American courts will try a foreign leader captured through an illegal military operation. The evidence against him was gathered through surveillance and intelligence operations that violated Venezuelan sovereignty. If this trial proceeds, it legitimizes kidnapping as law enforcement. It turns military aggression into legal process. The question isn't whether Trump succeeded in removing Maduro. He did. The question is what price the world pays for this success. Can the Venezuelan opposition unify the country? Will the military accept new leadership? Or will Venezuela descend into chaos while America extracts its oil? Trump says America will be heavily involved in Venezuela's oil industry going forward. Vice President J.D. Vance declares that the stolen oil must be returned to the United States. It sounds less like liberation and more like conquest. Less like justice and more like theft with better marketing. The operation took 20 minutes. The consequences will last 20 years, maybe longer. Today marks either the liberation of Venezuela or the death of international law. The precedent is set. Powerful countries can now bomb, invade, and kidnap with impunity if they claim moral authority. The rule of law becomes the rule of force. Treaty obligations become suggestions. Sovereignty becomes conditional on American approval. But one thing is certain. At 2 a.m. this morning, in 20 minutes of precision warfare, America just proved that in the Trump era, no law is binding, no border is sacred, and no leader is safe. Nicolás Maduro learned that the hard way. Every president, prime minister, and dictator around the world is taking notes and asking the same question. If this is how America treats its enemies, what does this mean for its friends? When might becomes right, who decides what's right? Tonight, the answer is simple. Whoever has the biggest military, the question is whether that's the world we want to live in.